Hey guys, and welcome to the Midlife Awakening. This is a podcast about the transformation for women who are waking up to who they really are while navigating all that comes with midlife. I'm so glad that you're here. We all know that we have some form of healing that we need to do, right? And if you don't think you need to heal anything, but you recognize some negative patterns in your life, then you probably need to heal some generational trauma. This need to heal can become even more prevalent when we hit our midlife awakening. But the journey of healing can feel like a daunting one when we just don't know where to start. It can add to our feelings of overwhelm because, let's be honest, of all the things that we learn over the years, no one actually teaches us about healing ourselves. And with the busy lives that we tend to lead, we don't always have the time to do the endless research required to understand where to start. I'm on this journey with you, and I feel your frustration. In today's episode, we're talking about how we can get started on our own healing journey. What are some of the pitfalls that we can expect, and how do we navigate them? Now, I'm no guru on this topic, but I am a person that needs structure and a plan before I start anything. Otherwise, I will never stick to it. Also, I get easily overwhelmed if I don't have a plan to follow. Now, you might say that on this journey, you just have to follow where the journey takes you and heal what is ready to be healed. That's all well and good, but I need at least, at a bare minimum, a rough guide of what it is that I want to achieve and how I think I'm going to get there. This calms my anxiety long enough for me to start the journey and then to go with the flow from there. Now, we've already taken the first step by acknowledging that we need to heal and possibly even recognizing what it is that we want to heal. Now, if you want to know what are your next steps, then stick around as I talk about what I think should be the next steps. Are you joining? Hey guys, and welcome to the Midlife Awakening podcast. My name is Odelia, and I'm your host. I'm so grateful that you're here. If you're returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for your support so far. I've been overwhelmed by the response to the podcast, and I'm ever so grateful. And if you're joining me for the first time, well then welcome. I'm really, really glad that you found your way here. So as I mentioned in the intro, in today's conversation, we're going to be talking about how to get started on our healing journey. Now, this becomes really prevalent in midlife, this need to heal. And it's part of moving towards your authentic self and coming home to yourself. So it's a really, really important part of this journey, I think, the midlife awakening journey. So we'll be looking at 8 steps that I've sort of done some research and found for you. And then we'll look at what are some of the common pitfalls that we can expect and how to navigate those. Now, like I said, I've done some research. I've picked what I think are the best 8 that I could find that I think are the most relevant. But this is just a rough guide. This is not to say that you're going to follow these rigidly, like step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is just going to give you a guide and a framework to work from. Inevitably, what's going to happen is when you start this healing journey, the universe is going to start sending you what it is that you need to do to heal. I know that's been my experience. I had never ever planned on doing a breathwork session. That was not in my, I'd never ever considered that as part of my healing. But that sort of came along on my path and I did it, and it's ended up being one of the most impactful things that I had done for myself. So I think the most important thing on this journey is to stay open-minded, to watch out for the synchronicities, as I mentioned in episode 1, and to be brave enough to try things that you've never tried before and to be uncomfortable. And when you do that, you'll be amazed at what's on the other side of that. So if we jump right in, so the very first one that we're going to talk about is acknowledging and accepting your pain. I mean, this is true for anything, isn't it? Anything that you want to work through, anything that you want to work on, acknowledgement and acceptance is always the first step. So some ways that you can do this, or one of the best ways that I know that you can do this, is through journaling. So set aside like 10, 15 minutes for yourself where you know you're not going to get interrupted. Put on some calm music that really resonates with your soul. And it doesn't even have to be calm music. It can be any music that really resonates with your soul and that can help you get in touch with your emotions, because that's ultimately what you want to do when you're journaling. And just like sit and feel the feelings. Often we try and just, move past them, or to try and shove them down, or to ignore them, or to, I don't want to feel, or I want to rush through them. Just sit with it. Sit with those feelings and start journaling about how you feel. Where do you feel like it's coming from? Give the emotions that you're feeling a name. Are you mad? Are you sad? Are you overwhelmed? Are you frustrated? And then start thinking about where do you think, what is the root cause of what it is that you're feeling? And from there, you'll start uncovering what it is that you need to heal. And you're going to do this process a couple of times. And each time you're going to uncover something different, because your healing journey is like an onion. And you're going to peel away at the layers. And once you've healed one thing, something else is going to come to your attention that you need to heal. And then the next thing, and then the next thing, and the next thing. So this is something really good to always come back to, is to do the journaling and to get in touch with your emotional self. That's really, really important. So step 2 is setting your intentions and your goals. So once you've identified what it is that you want to heal, now you're going to set an intention and a goal for that specific thing that you want to heal. So is it someone that you want to forgive? Is it a childhood wound that you want to heal that's causing negative patterns in your life? Have you identified a negative self-limiting belief about yourself, and you want to heal that because you can see how it's affecting your life negatively? And whenever I think about goals and intentions, I always think about Arnold Schwarzenegger's book, Be Useful. It's a really, really great book if you are into the power of the mind and visualization. I mean, he's amazing. He really is amazing. If you've watched the documentary on his life and you've read his book, I mean, he's quite motivational and he can really, really pick you up. Anyway, so in his book, he talks about how he had a vision, and, you have this overarching vision, which is, I want to heal. And then you start zooming in. Well, what is it that you want to heal? I want to forgive this person. Okay, now how are you going to forgive this person? Why do you want to forgive this person? And you just start zooming in, zooming in, zooming in. And that is going to be your vision of what you want to have at the end of this journey. And you're going to do that each time you go through this process. So really give that a thought, because that's really how we're going to measure whether you're healed or not at the end of this. So number 3 is going to be seek support. So if this is accessible for you, it's always a really good idea to get a therapist, because a therapist can guide you through the healing journey. And a really good therapist knows how to be patient with you and knows how to navigate that difficult terrain. They also know when to push you out of your comfort zone and when to hold space for you without pushing you. And I always feel like therapy is really, really a great opportunity for you to get validation. And because you're speaking to someone who's completely unbiased about a situation. Because very often we second guess ourselves and we say, oh, maybe I'm overreacting. Oh, maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought. Or maybe I'm just overly sensitive. We put ourselves down, and we don't even give ourselves the validation that we need. So to go and sit with someone who is completely unbiased and who can hear your side of the story and can validate you and say, yes, that was actually really horrible that happened to you, or you're not overreacting, you're not being overly sensitive. That can be so validating for you, and that can really, really, really help you along on this journey, because a lot of times we don't trust our own judgment. So that can be really important, and I always encourage people to go for therapy. It's a really important part of the step in healing. The next thing you could do is, in terms of seeking support, is you can join a like-minded community. This is a great space to get support from other people who are going through the same journey as you are, and who can understand from your perspective what you're going through. Now, I've created a Facebook group called The Awakened Community, and the sole purpose of this group is to provide a place for people who are on their healing journey to come and to support each other, to encourage each other, and to inspire each other. So if you feel like you don't have a community, please head on over. The link is in the show notes. I'd love to see you in the group. We talk about all different areas of healing. We do books that hopefully help most of the community. And it's just this space where we can post questions, even if it's anonymously. And you can post the questions that you're struggling with. And invariably, there's going to be somebody else who's either been through the same thing or is going through the same thing. And that can be so helpful and so validating. Like I said, especially when we don't even validate ourselves. So if that sounds like something that you would really like, please head on over the Awaken community on Facebook. Link is in the show notes. I'd love to see you over there. Otherwise, look for another group. If that's not what you want, look for another group. If it's narcissistic abuse that you're dealing with, there's so many groups on Facebook. It's unbelievable, and you can find something that's really niche to what you're experiencing. So, I mean, it can just take your healing to another level to have that. And people can tell you about their healing journey and what they've done to sort of move past where you are, and they can inspire you. So number 4 is going to be explore healing modalities. Now, this is really important. So I've talked about in the previous episode how therapy is really great for validation, but healing is something completely different. So once you've been to the therapist and you've worked through a lot of whatever it is that you're dealing with, and now you want to heal, I would encourage you to try some healing modalities. This could be yoga, meditation, breath work. I mean, I can't talk enough about breath work because it has been so pivotal for myself. Reiki, somatic exercises, anything to do with somatics, because remember, we store trauma in our bodies. Yeah. And so we want to release that from our bodies, because that's where true healing happens, is when we're able to release it from our bodies and we are able to reframe our subconscious mind. So remember, if you're removing a negative belief from your mind, you want to put some positive beliefs back in. Anytime you're taking something negative out, you want to put something positive back in to fill that space. Journaling is really great. Being out in nature, so grounding yourself. There's this whole big movement around, putting your feet to the ground and grounding. I mean, I'm loving this at the moment. I try and do this as much as I possibly can. And for me, I really, 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 really love it. Number 5, embrace self-care. Now, a lot of people have this misconception that self-care is bubble baths and face masks and facials and pedicures and manicures. And that all sounds really, really lovely. It really is. But that's pampering. It's not really self-care. It's pampering. There is a very big difference. Self-care is, in a nutshell, the best way I can explain it is you showing up for yourself, you standing up for yourself. So how do we do that? That is putting boundaries in place. That is having the difficult conversations that make you feel uncomfortable, but that are necessary for your mental health. That is what self-care is. Nourishing your body to help you through this journey, taking care of your body, putting yourself first in every sense of the word. This is what self-care really, really is. And we're going to do a book in the community all about real self-care. And so I hope you will join me for that one. Number 6 is going to be practice self-compassion. I mean, how many times do you beat yourself up for things that you do, right? Oh, you stupid, stupid girl. Why did you do that? Oh, you're such an idiot. This is negative talk that goes on in our heads constantly. I mean, I know it does for me. And so the next time that happens, I want you to catch yourself and I want you to stop and I want you to ask yourself, is this true? And no, it's not. And I want you to reframe that as if you're speaking to one of your children. And if you don't have children, if you're speaking to a small child that's looking up at you, that's made a mistake, and is feeling quite bad about it and shameful about it, what would you say to that kid? What would you say to that small child? Would you say you're an idiot? No, you'd speak with love and kindness, wouldn't you? So the next time you catch yourself speaking negatively to yourself about yourself, I want you to stop yourself and I want you to reframe it and say something nice to yourself, something caring, something loving, and something supportive. Number 7, find healthy ways to release stuck emotions. So this is a big thing. We've got so many things coming at us during the day. You get stuck in traffic, you're late for work, you're all frazzled, your boss is upset with you because you've made a mistake, or whatever it is, your kids are shouting at you, they hate you because they're teenagers, or whatever it is, or you're feeling overwhelmed because of whatever you're going through. Maybe you're getting divorced, maybe you're, maybe you've just had a friendship that's ended. You have to process those emotions, because if you don't, they get stuck in your body, and this is where negative patterns can start developing. So, process your emotions in any way that feels right for you, whether that's screaming into a pillow, and we want to do this in healthy ways, so don't go and hit someone. Screaming into a pillow. Or for myself, what I tend to do is, not a lot of people know this about me, but I guess they are going to now. I love to dance. That is my go-to to express myself. And so when I'm feeling really overwhelmed and I have all this emotion pent up that I need to express, I put my headphones on and I put on some music by Pink, and I just, I put it full blast, and I dance. I make sure it's when nobody's home because my kids will just laugh at me. And I just dance. I mean, look, I'm no professional dancer, so there's no choreographed routine that I'm doing. I'm just going with flow. I'm just letting my body go with the motions. And I really, really do get a lot of my emotions out. And I end up crying at the end of it and just lying on the floor, exhausted. But I feel so much better after that because I've processed those emotions. And then once I'm done with the crying and the being exhausted, I can get up, I go and have a shower, and I get on with my day, and I feel so much better because I've processed. So, you could do this screaming into the pillow, you could do singing, you could do, singing in the car at the top of your voice. That's another really, really good one. Shouting into a pillow is a really, because I've said that a couple of times now. But yeah, anything that's in processing those emotions in a healthy way. Then number 8 is going to be patient and be persistent. So setbacks and challenges are going to be a normal part of this journey. So accept that now already. Don't put yourself under so much pressure to think, oh, well, I've got to, don't try and do this too quickly, because you'll give yourself a healing crisis as well. Go at your own pace. If you fall off the healing wagon, let yourself fall off the healing wagon. You'll get back on it when you're ready. Don't put yourself under so much pressure. Go at your own pace. Where's that self-compassion? Tap into that self-compassion. Treat yourself with kindness and understanding and acceptance. And own this journey as your own. Nobody's going to grade you on this. Nobody's going to judge you on this. This is your own personal journey. So let it be what it is. So those are some of the steps that I could think of that resonated the most, or that I thought were most relevant to help us get started on this journey. So now we can look at some of the setbacks and how we can try and navigate them. So the first one is going to be, you're probably going to meet some resistance to change, because again, we have that subconscious that's going to say, oh, this doesn't feel safe. This is the first time we're doing this. I don't know if I like this. I don't know if this is safe. Let's go back to what we always do. And it's almost like a GPS that's rerouting you back to, back onto the highway. And so the best way to deal with this is just embrace it. Don't try and fight it. accept that like your body's not going to want to do it. Your body is not going to want to do it. Your mind is not going to want to do it. And one thing about the subconscious is that the conscious mind cannot override the subconscious mind. So what you'll have to do is, and I read this in James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, and I thought it was a really, really great tip, is that he said, do it in small steps. Start with 2 minutes. I think it was 2 minutes or 20 seconds. I think it's 2 minutes. So start with 2 minutes. So if journaling for 10 minutes seems too overwhelming for you, start with 2 minutes. Do 2 minutes every day, just to get into the habit of it. Just 2 minutes every day. So if you want to get up at 5 so you can exercise, get a morning exercise in, then get up at 5, but don't do the exercise. Sit and relax, so that your body can feel comfortable with it. And once you've done that for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then you think to yourself, okay, well, I'm up anyway. Might as well do a bit of an exercise. And then again, just 5 minutes. Just do 5 minutes of exercise, and then you build it up incrementally. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't throw too much at yourself. Remember, this is about healing. This is not about, this is not about the egos wanting to be the superstar. This is about healing. So number 2, the second thing that you can expect is emotional overwhelm. So again, this is where if you try and do too much at once, you're going to feel emotionally overwhelmed, and you could head into a healing crisis, right? So how do we do that? How do we fix that? So in addition to breaking things up into smaller pieces, what you can do is, so if you did 2 minutes of journaling, then do a grounding exercise afterwards, just to ground yourself and make yourself feel safe. You could also use all your senses. So rub your fingers. Those of you that are watching me on video, you can see, just rub your fingers, your index and your thumb, like little balls, like you're rolling a little ball between them. That can be quite soothing. You could listen to calm music. You could dance. So moving your body is a really great way. If you're starting to feel emotionally overwhelmed, you could try smelling something that feels really familiar and that makes you feel happy. So those are some of the ways that you can sort of deal with emotional overwhelm. Number 3, fear of facing the past. So this is where seeking support is going to help you. So whether that's a coach or a therapist or a like-minded community, like the one that I've got, this is a great way to find the courage that you need to face that past. Okay, because you're not in the past anymore. You are safe in the present. And it's just really helpful to have somebody else, and it makes you feel safe and secure to have somebody else helping you to navigate that. Number 4, expect quick results. And we talked about this a little bit briefly, but yeah, don't try and expect quick results, because you're just going to put yourself in a healing crisis. So don't do that. Track your small wins, because they are wins. And remember, this is not about the ego's need for validation and, I'm the superstar, I'm winning here. No. This is about your own healing journey. So track those small wins, celebrate them. Even if they're small, they're really important. And redefine your setbacks. So if you fall off the healing journey wagon and you're struggling to get back on, that's okay. Just reframe it and say, don't say to yourself, I'm a failure because I'm not doing my healing anymore. I've hit a wall and I can't get back onto it. Reframe it and say, I need to rest right now. I need to rest. And it's okay. It's okay that this healing journey can be so exhausting and it can take so much out of us. And, this is not going to be a checklist. We say, okay, I've done that now. I'm going to heal this now, and I'm going to heal this now. It's okay to take breaks in between and to just give yourself a chance to integrate the healing that you've just done on yourself. Okay, so reframes. Let's reframe that. Number 5, self-sabotage and old conditions. So again, this is the subconscious mind coming back in and saying, oh, I don't like how this feels. We'll go back to our old patterns. So what's key, this is actually really great if this happens, because this gives you an opportunity to identify what are your self-sabotaging techniques or strategies and try and interrupt them. Yeah, where you can. So for example, you want to eat healthy and you're in day 2 and you're like, oh, I'm having such a bad day. I just need something sweet to comfort me. I'm going through such a bad time. I need something to comfort me. Interrupt them and say, oh, but that's not even going to make me feel better. It's actually going to make me feel worse, because now I'm going to have the guilt of falling off the wagon of my eating healthy. And I know that eating healthy is going to help me. Yeah. And then have a glass of water and go for a walk. And that's how you interrupt them. So where you can, identify them and then interrupt them. Number 6, last one, physical symptoms. So fatigue, tension, headaches, these are all things that can sort of manifest in our body when we're trying to do our healing. And that's because, as we know, trauma is stored in the body. And as you start to release that, your body starts to feel the effects of that. So it's like, like the hangover, you could say. It's the hangover from the trauma or from the healing. So the best way to deal with this is to nurture your body with movement. So great thing would be yoga, and to nourish your body. So get really good, nourishing, clean food in, and lots of water. Water is your friend, and make sure it's clean water. So these are the pitfalls that we can expect, and these are some strategies that you can use to try and help you navigate those pitfalls. But it's always important to remember that healing is not linear. You're going to cry one day, you're going to laugh the next day, and then you're going to find yourself spiraling over small things. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're broken. It means that you are human. Give yourself the permission to go slow, to pause, to rest. Healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about coming home to yourself and who you already are, underneath all of the coping and the armor. So how do we start our healing journey? Simple. We start with awareness. We start with tenderness, with a willingness to be honest, even when it's messy. No one's told you today. I'm proud of you, just for being here, for listening, and for asking the question. If you've made it this far in the episode, I hope it has resonated with you. And if so, please, can you share it with anyone you know that might need to hear it? I'm so grateful to be able to bring you this free content every week. It's a labor of love for me. Honestly, it really is. But if I could ask for one small thing in return, it would be if you could follow, rate, and review the show in order to keep it going and to get it out to others who may need it. I can't do that without you. So I hope that you will continue to stick around, because we're just getting started. So until next week, be kind to yourself and take care of your heart. Remember, it's never too late to begin again. Bye for now.